Okay, how you doing, Miss Adella?
I am blessed to be here and to be with you.
All right.
And on the day before your dad's birthday, this is a blessing and make me feel so good to know that I remember him writing one of those letters that you gave me about
poem.
Seniors, about how you stop by and see the seniors because it's important to think about the older people because they loved you first. And,
That's right.
yeah. And I read that off every now and then. And when I want to think about him, I keep his letters in my Bible. Because some of the letters that he wrote, it really gives me a lift and don't make me feel miss him so much, you know. And I'm just grateful that God put him in my life. He was my first love. Mothers don't realize that their sons are their first loves. And my son stuck with me. I remember him going, wherever I went, Romeo was there. Even with my troubled days, he would be there for me. And funniest thing I think about him, teaching him how to drive. That was the funniest thing too. When he first learned how to drive, he drove up on the sidewalk, you know, and he had such a sense of humor. It was a kind of, sometimes it's kind of real weird.
Right, raunchy stuff, right?
But the strangest thing was when he started coming out here. He really didn't want me to move, you know, because we had talked about moving. Right. And moving in, because they wanted to move to where Gary was, you know. But he said, no, Ma, no, I don't want you to move there. This is all right. And every time, you know, he would always come, and right there, he would stand, and I can just see him, you know, standing there in that spot. And the last time he was here, when he left, that plant out there was purple. And he stopped. And he looked at it and he said, oh, Ma, you got a purple flower. And something just started in your mind. You
stop and smell the flowers.
Stop and smell the flowers. And that was the first time I ever seen him do that, you know. And it's just so much. Yeah. And so many times of laughter. He said, Ma, I was the first one to call your mama. I said, yeah, because I don't know nobody else did. But,
So you are the second child of.
I'm the second. Sonny.
The first is Claudia.
Right? Claudia was the first.
Was she born in 36? Was it 36?
In December.
December of 36. Okay, and then it's you.
And me. And then
Sonny.
Sonny.
Right, because he shared the same birthday.
But W was the last. He was the youngest, because W was the youngest boy.
Okay. So was Ann? Is she the very youngest?
The youngest girl.
Okay, but she the last out of everybody though.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I see. But, now, where were you? You were born in Arkansas, right?
Osceola, Arkansas.
Osceola, Arkansas. Okay. What is your earliest memory? Do you remember do you remember do you know when you all moved from there?
Well, my mom and dad. My dad first moved to Chicago Cause his dad, his dad was like a preacher, traveling preacher.
Right.
He was like a overseer of the people, some other people, and they had a cleaners, and my dad would, do cleaning and everything, but he would take my dad's money, and my mom, my dad didn't know how to read, but he could count.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom knew how to read and write,
Mm-hmm.
and she would, tell Dad about certain things. And then Junior, his first cousin.
Is that Junior Polk?
Junior Polk.
That's who. Okay. I've always heard that name.
That was Junior Polk was my grandfather's. My grandfather, his sister's
son. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But Junior, he was the leader. He led. No, little son. Y'all never met him.
Mm-hmm.
He was the oldest of Junior and Pluck. He was the oldest son. He was the little short guy.
Mm-hmm.
They called him Little Son. And he was migrated to Chicago. And then when Daddy and Junior moved to Chicago, then he moved to Florida. And we never did see him anymore.
After that.
And now when my dad moved, Mama left me and Claudia with my big aunt. Well, big aunt was my mother's auntie, my mother's sister. Yeah. And
you talking about Bertha? You talking about Bertha? Or is that
Bertha was her sister.
Okay, you talking about
Big Aunt
grandmother's her aunt. Gotcha.
Her daddy, her mama's mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Her mother's sister.
Mama's sister, yeah.
Gotcha. Uh-huh.
And she was the one that raised them.
Okay.
And I was left with them, me and Claudia.
Mm-hmm.
And we went up to Chicago to get things settled.
Settled, right.
But I remember something that always stuck in my mind, and I never could understand how God did that to me. For me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was about maybe 5 years old, not about 5 years old. And down south there, the stores were way.
Far away.
Yeah. And my aunt sent me to the store. I remember my aunt telling me to bring Claudia back a pot. And somehow, something about I can't remember. I remember ice cream. But I didn't get no ice cream, but I came on back. And when I came back, I had the wrong pot. And I didn't know, and my aunt was going to tell me to go back and get the right pot, but Claudia won. And I was finna turn around and go back, and then that lady said, "Oh no, she ain't going back down there." And I looked, and that was the first time I seen anybody talk to me, to thought that I was somebody special. I just realized that I didn't realize she was my mama, but I realized that there was a woman that thought enough of me to say, "Oh no, she ain't going back."
Right.
And I often wonder, how did God let me walk down that road to a store at 5 years old? How could I remember something like that? And it stuck in my mind. I never made that up, but it's been in my mind all my life.
Wow.
And my sister, she burned me on my leg. I got a scar on my leg. She burned me on my leg with we call them poking irons. That's what you
for the fire, like in the stove or whatever.
And I got a scar on my leg for that now. But I didn't know Claudia was well, like my aunt would favor her. I didn't know no different. I was just a baby,
Right.
Mama took me, then Claudette resented Mama taking me and Sonny on up to Chicago and left her
down there, the auntie.
She resented that. But she didn't want to leave Big Ain't without somebody, you know, so Claudia was the closest one to her, you know.
When did Claudia, so once you all moved to Chicago, how much longer after that did she finally come up to Chicago? Was it like a number of years, or was it wasn't that long?
I say it was about, maybe it might have been a year.
Oh,
might
that's
not
it.
have been that long, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But, because my mom them had to move with someone and rent a house or rent a place to stay, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
do you know how they so did grandmother Ruth, did she find the house on 19th Street, or did Ball find it?
No. My mama found that house.
Oh, okay.
We was living with Mr. Porter and them. You heard we talk about Mr. Porter.
Yeah.
And Debbie married one of them, Lily.
Lily, right, right. Mm-hmm.
Because we was living in on Fairfield in the back of they had bought a 2-flat, Mr. Porter, and they had up in the front, they had apartments in the back and apartments in the front.
Okay.
And we had the back,
mm-hmm.
in back of Mr. Porter there. And Mama got tired of, she said, because there was too many roaches there. You know, it was just, wasn't right.
It was uncomfortable.
It was very uncomfortable, because she worked at a mail order house.
Okay.
And it's called Aldi's. They don't have it now anymore, I don't think. But anyway, Mama got dressed that day and she came back. She said, we moving. We moved out of that house. And I was oh my God, that was a blessing. Wow. And I think, yeah, we moved out of that house because we had lived a couple of places over on Warren and built in Western. We lived over there before we moved to Fairfield.
Mm-hmm. But
that was a blessing, because my mama was a very smart woman. Mm-hmm. She'd be smoking, but she smoked them cigarettes, but she could.
What cigarettes did she smoke, by the way?
Was it not?
It wasn't Pall Mall? No.
Parliaments, I think.
Oh, Parliaments? Okay.
Yeah, there was that long one with it. I kind of remember. At first it was Camel, and then something new came out with a filter.
Oh, okay.
You know, and then she started smoking that filter.
Mm-hmm. What type of personality was Ball? Like, describe him.
Oh, my dad?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My dad was my daddy could sing.
Mm-hmm.
And he could do things, because he was in the singing quartet, the Golden Star. I think the Golden Star or the Silver Star.
I think it's something like that, yeah.
And he was in a quartet.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very good at singing.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing, one time the guys, they wanted suits. And they got the suits on credit, but the thing is, they got Daddy to put an X on the credit, so he was responsible. He didn't understand, and they made him responsible for them suits, and he had to pay for them suits. And I think that's when Daddy got out of the quartet, because they was trying to make a fool out of him. Right. Because they knew he couldn't
read or write. Mm-hmm. Right.
And that was one thing. When he got retired, I tried to teach him how to read, and he would get mad at Mama because he said because in the old days they whoop him on their hand and make him learn how to read.
Right,
he said, put my hand. But we tried, and I promised him, I said, I'm gonna finish high school. Mm-hmm. Just for him, not for myself, but for him, because that was something that was the only thing that held him back. But you couldn't count him out of you couldn't beat him out of his money.
Right.
You can maybe out reading, but you couldn't out count him.
Well, I think it's remarkable, for a man like him to achieve as much as he did by, a lot of that had to do with grandmother helping him a lot. She was she was a little dynamite person. Yeah. But, for him to, own a couple buildings and, hold several jobs, I mean, and still.
He sure did the one that building over in the Spanish area.
Yeah, off of Drake you're talking about?
Yeah, one Drake, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they accumulated, material things, and he just got sick, and he would drink, but because that's what really killed him. He was. Oh,
you did? I didn't know he drank.
He would drink.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. But you never knew it, because he never was around him. But he would be, go in a room and be laid out or something,
Okay.
But he never. He never. Now him and Mama, sometimes he would want to hit Mama, and when he wanted to hit Mama, I beat him up. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing he told me. When Tom would fight me, and I would come home, and he looked at me. He said, "Me to tell me you would fight me, and you don't fight that nigga back."
Dog Tom.
And when he told me that, it looked like it just made me feel strong, because he taught me how to drive a car. He let me drive the car. He would teach me a lot of stuff.
You talking about Tom, or you talking about
my dad?
Oh, your dad. Okay.
My dad would teach me. Tom didn't know how to drive no car.
Oh.
He didn't know how to drive a car until we got married.
Oh, really? So tell me about each one of your siblings. Like, with Claudia, like, what's the greatest memory you had with Claudia up to this point, if you have any?
Well, Claudia was she's a very intelligent person. I didn't have many children at the time. She was having her oldest son, Terry, the one that died. Mm-hmm. I would take care of most all her children before my babies came,
Right.
I would take care of all of her children.
Because did she have was it 3 kids before Dad was born? Claudia? Was it about 2 or 3?
Terry. Because
Jerome?
Nita and Rhodey was together.
Right.
Because I think I had Rhodey first, and then Nita came.
Okay.
And Claudia's oldest daughter.
Is that T?
That's T.
Okay. So it's Terry and then
Terry, T, and Jerome.
Right.
Jerome was, let's see, I'm not sure. Might have been the second child, and then there was T.
Okay.
And then there was Nita.
Okay.
And them other little groups came along.
Right, the Abnard and the right. Right.
Because Claudia got married. They got a divorce.
His name was what's
Ernest.
His name? Ernest, right? Mm-hmm.
Ernest Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
And
did you get along with him very well?
Oh yeah, Ernest was all right. But the first time I met him, I didn't like him. It was some reason. I don't know why. And I did something weird, and I almost slapped him, and I hit him, spit on him.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why I did that to that man. But after that, he was a nice man. He did the best that he knew how. Mm-hmm. He just didn't know how. After they got into the Muslims and the things got a little bit better for them. But they stuck together. They had a lot of children, I know that.
Right. It was about 10 of them or something?
Almost.
Yeah. Wow. And, where did they live, when they were together, of course, as a family?
And see, after we moved out of the basement, then they moved into the basement.
Okay.
And they lived with Mama, and then Ruth Ann and them, they moved more. Then Ruth Ann had a baby.
Was that Gina?
Gina.
Okay, because that's her first, right?
And that's her first baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mama and them bought that other building
On Drake.
On Drake.
Mm-hmm.
And Ann and Gina and them, they all moved over there in that building.
Okay.
And my Aunt Lee, my daddy's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And
what type of lady was she?
which one?
Aunt Lee. Yeah.
Aunt Lee was a nice person. She was an auntie. You know, she was more lovable than my grandmother. My grandmother didn't like me.
Really?
No, she wouldn't.
Big Mama.
Big Mama.
Mm-hmm.
And she got sick just before she died. She had to go to the hospital, and they needed at certain hospitals you had to give up some blood, and wasn't nobody giving up no blood, and I had to be the one to give her some blood. And,
No way.
And I said, oh my God. I said, Mama, I have to give her some blood. Yeah, you know, because they wouldn't take it unless somebody gave up some blood.
Mm-hmm.
And but the strangest thing, when she died, she came to me and she apologized to me.
Wow.
I remember that. And after that, it seemed like because I didn't like her.
Right.
She wasn't a grandmother that.
She wasn't a loving type.
No, not with me.
Uh-huh.
You know, because Gracie was there and she was kind of resentful of me, and I was resentful of her because they treated Gracie better than me or something.
I was going to ask you, because I know this was a very common thing back in the times. Was it the skin complexion? Was it that?
It wasn't. Well, I was the darkest. No, me and Sonny was the darkest.
Right.
Yeah, we was the darkest. They used to call me Old Black Adella, and that's when I used to cuss everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
That would make me get off me. And if I cuss, say some words that kind of put a shield over it. Don't mess with me.
Right. Don't cross me.
And but you know, it's the strangest thing. We end up going to a white school over on Gladys where we used to live. And it was called, went too far, was the Italians in the Italian area. And we went to that a mixed school. White, they treated me better than black folks did. You know. And
wow.
But then the house got burned down on Gladys.
Oh, wow.
Then we traveled over to the west side on the 16th Street. We lived with my auntie. I don't know if you ever heard them talking about Laura Mack.
No, never heard of her.
In fact, she lived with us in the house that got burned down, and then she moved over on 16th Street, and we moved with her because Mama and them didn't have no place to go when the house burned down. And then we found the place over on the next street.
So with Uncle Sonny, so out of all your siblings, were you the closest to? I know y'all were born next to each other basically, but
no, we was close.
Yeah, you all were the closest out of all.
Sonny always said we was twins.
Right.
That's my brother.
Yeah.
He had an insight on life that he was kind of, I don't know, like he would hang out with the Indians. He would be with the Indians. He would go and look up at the sky, and when his baby's born, he'd go take the babies out there and bring them up to the sky. I don't know who taught him all of that, but that's one of the things that he did. We would go fishing. I don't know. He was a boxer. You know, Sonny was a boxer.
Oh, he was?
Oh yeah, he did win a couple of trophies over at the Office Street Club. And he was a good boxer. And but he was, I don't know, he was just like he never did finish school.
Okay.
But he was smart, you know, and he just was then he had got in a gang, started a gang or something. But he wasn't one of those gangs that he beat, try to fight folks all the time. He just wanted a gang to be. He had them doing things
like positive things, kind of like okay.
And that's how he got in with the Muslims. That's who brought them into the Muslims.
Okay,
it was Sonny, and that's what he started. Taking Rhodey them around.
Right, like selling the newspapers and
selling
such.
the newspaper, make them dress better and make them feel like they were somebody special, rather than just little raggedy children. And he would take them places. See, Tom would have wanted to do those things, but he never did do those things with Rhodey. Because he had nobody that would do those things with.
With him, right.
So that's the reason Rhodey cleaned the Sonny more.
Right. Because he was almost like a father figure to him.
Yeah, because he would take him everywhere, anywhere Sonny, because Sonny wouldn't have drive a car, because if Sonny get in the car, everybody better get off the street. He wasn't a driver.
Okay.
But he would walk everywhere. He'd drag me, like every little house on the prairie. Me and Son, that's how me and Sonny was. He'd walk me all over, and we had to. He said, "Now if you want some fish, we got to climb up under the bridge in the middle. There I am in the middle of the bridge, up under the bridge fishing." But
wow.
Now he would have some stories to tell, I guess that's when he met Bernice.
And you all used to be very close too, you and Bernice and such.
Well,
did you all go to school together or no?
Oh,
y'all didn't go to school together.
No,
Now what about W? Now tell me about him.
W was my baby brother. He was a good guy until he got himself into trouble, and he lived with some other boys. They would steal off the trains and get stuff to sell stuff so they can he give her what she wanted. And he got put in jail for that. That's the reason he went to jail.
Oh, was it for that? Oh, it wasn't. Cause I thought it was a situation where somebody got killed.
Somebody did get killed.
Oh, it was that during that situation.
One of the boys shot the other boy, and just because Debbie was with him, and he was the oldest, or something like that. It wasn't no more than maybe a year or 6 months older, but he was older, and they figured he should have been the one to tell this young boy not to do that.
Right.
So that's the reason he went to jail, for being with them.
How long was he in jail for? Was it a very long time?
Yeah, he went to jail for about 5 or 6 years, almost. Mama make sure we had on Sunday.
You had to go out there to Joliet. Yeah, I always heard about that.
Yeah, that was the ride.
It was a routine.
Yeah, that was it. You had to go. I don't care what we did. We had to go.
You had to go every Sunday.
Every Sunday. Mama drive us on out there. You get in that old car, or the old Cadillac, or the old whatever she had at that time.
About Auntie Ann.
Ann is an artist. She was an artist. You see, if you notice how articulate she is. But I was next to her, and Claudia was married at the time. So Ruth Ann was younger, so I was the oldest at the house. So I was responsible for Ann. And she had her own way of doing stuff, and we just drifted apart at a lot of things that wasn't right,
No, I get it. Yeah. It just happens that way sometimes. Yeah. But you never really, with her kids, because they were...
All the kids, I helped her raise all the kids.
Oh, you did help raise her kids, too? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I helped.
Because I know you had your own kind of at the time when she started having hers. So.
I helped raise her kids, my kids, Claudia's kids. And I really didn't know if I had that such an impact on the children until they told me. Until, because like with Terry, he was down south and he was sick. That's the reason he sent for me to come down there.
Right.
Because he was the first grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
And I would take care of him. He was our first baby. And then I didn't know how close, like with Jerome, I would take care of him, and Rhodey was close.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to live with me, but Tom wouldn't let him come live with me.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to learn. He wanted to fly in a plane.
Mm-hmm. And
so he said, I need somebody to ride with me. He needed somebody so many hours with somebody in the plane. And he came over there and got me and Ennis. Ennis was a baby then at the time. And there we is up in the airplane, flying over the
Chicago,
city, over the ocean, over the Chicago River.
Yeah, Lake Michigan.
Lake Michigan. But he said, "Auntie, come on, we'll show you how to drive." I said, He let me drive. That was the first time I ever drove. I was piloting an airplane. But I didn't. It wasn't scary, but he needed. Because his daddy wouldn't go and his mama wouldn't go. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, I'll go. And he always would tell me about that he really wanted, that's something he wanted. He did end up being a pilot.
Wow.
And Rhodey looked for him. He looked for him.
For years,
For
I
years.
know.
He tried his best. And,
mm-hmm.
right now, I can't find him since I saw him.
You haven't been in contact with him?
I haven't been in since I saw him the last time when I went to Florida. I had never had a close boyfriend like Tom. Mm-hmm. In fact, I had met him at the school. His friend Lily, she was one of our friends at school, and she said they was having a basketball game or something, and she said she gonna bring some guys over and introduce us. Mm-hmm. And she brought some guys over to the school to introduce us because we had a basketball game. And it was another guy I liked, and Tom looked at me, then he hit me with the ball, and he wasn't even playing basketball. He was sitting on the bench. And his eyes were so big, I couldn't get past them eyes. They were so big. And then I don't know, somehow he got my telephone number, and we started talking, because he was my first boyfriend.
What grade was this? Was this sophomore year or freshman year in high school, or
about the
junior? Sophomore year. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because he was getting he was getting ready to almost graduate.
Oh, that's right. Because he's a year older than you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was getting ready to graduate. Mm-hmm. And everywhere Tom went, he walked. Either he walked or he caught that bus. Mm. But, and he lived over there on, by, not Drake, but he lived not too far from, Audrey them.
Okay. Off of, Hamlin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they lived in...
So they lived somewhere after, because he lived on Oak Street or something, right? Was that Tom? He never lived on Oak Street? No?
I think he might have. They did live on the north side for a while.
Okay, but that was way before
That was before me.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
He lived there, because, what was his name?
He's over there by the community.
What was it? Audrey's mother.
Oh.
They lived on Hamlin.
Right. Geraldine.
Yeah, Geraldine. Geraldine lived on Hamlin. That's when she had that 3-flat building.
Right.
They had just bought that building because that's when Lily and them moved on the 3rd floor.
Well, oh, wait a minute. So Lily, W's? Well, you said Lily. You talking about who now? Lily.
That's when Lydia.
Oh, Lydia. Oh, you talking about grandmother Lydia. Right, right. Gotcha.
They lived on I can't think of that street, but then they didn't live too far
from there.
From there, but after Geraldine bought that building, then that's because me and Tom was moved. We lived on Kenneth,
right?
And then we was getting the people that had that house, they wanted an apartment, so we had to move over on what is it? Not too far from Gladys, where we was living. And
was that Adams? You all lived on Adams, right?
Adams, yeah.
Yeah, I remember my dad saying something about that.
We moved there on the third floor, big apartment.
Because I think Dad had said something to the fact that y'all had sent him down to El Paso for a summer, and then when he came back, y'all moved. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because he was down there. Because we didn't. Because Tom's mother said, "Well, y'all move with us." I said, "Oh no." I was green, but I wasn't crazy. And Tom had just bought that new car, brand new pink car, pink and black. And that morning I got up, I said, "I'm not moving now." And I got up and I was looking in the paper and I read it in the paper. I went way down on the north side somewhere. And this Jewish man, I said, "I'm looking for an apartment." He said, "Don't you want to buy a house?"
Wow.
Buy a house? I didn't know nothing about buying no house, you know.
Right.
But them Jews fixed the store. They got the lawyer. We didn't need but $500, and that's when Henry told Tom to move with them. And Tom asked him to loan him some money, part of it, because Tom would work. Tom never, that's one thing about Tom, he worked.
Right.
And he didn't have enough money. He might have had, if they had let him use the money rather than pay rent or something like that, But he called his daddy, which I don't think they had too much communication.
Yeah, you talking about what's his name, Glenn?
Anthony. His dad, Tom's real daddy name was Anthony.
No, I thought it was Elliot. Wasn't it Glenn?
Elliot.
Yeah, Elliot, right.
Elliot.
Glenn, is it Glenn Elliot?
Glenn.
Right.
Glenn Elliot.
Uh-huh.
And then he sent that $500
wow.
to Tom, and that's how we got that place.
Wow.
And
what year? Do you remember what year that was? Was that?
I can't.
You may have told me it was like in the mid-60s.
Some things I can. Some things I can remember. And some things I can't.
Oh, I understand.
They'll come to me. Some of them. But
I think you told me a long time ago. I thought you said maybe 1966 or 65. It sounded about right.
Might have been that
around that time. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because we didn't have to pay but $500 down for the house, and you said in that area it was primarily white. It was all white. Mm-hmm. Mostly white. It was at the Van Buren, and they was even the school that Rhoda and them was gonna go. Rhoda and them was gonna go to. You talking about the May school? Street, May school, right? They couldn't go there when we first moved over there because it was all white. They was gonna have to bus them to go back over into another area where black kids would go. But after I say about maybe a year or so, 2 years, because the white folks had when they called townhouses meant the whites used those houses for political reasons. Because they might have had a home in the suburbs, but they had to have some power to have an address to be in Chicago. Right. Because you had to have some type of residency in Chicago if you worked like for the police department or as a school teacher, and so it still goes on to today still. Yeah. And that's how we got that place. Because it was a doctor that owned it. It was a Jewish doctor. And Wise, Wiss or something, Weiss.
Weiss, okay.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't know too much about looking for no house, and all I know it was a house. And Tom didn't pay too much attention because he really didn't know nothing about buying nothing or getting anything or have a mindset to make that transaction to own something, because Billy and them
they never owned nothing.
They never owned nothing. Because Henry didn't want to own nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even the house that they had down in
that was
Texas,
his brother's.
That was his brother's.
Homer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And all Henry was a gambler and a bartender. You know, he was in the army. You know.
Right.
But he was a man. He was a nice man. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't. He wasn't a man for Tom. Tom needed a real. He needed a dad.
Okay.
He really needed his dad. That's all that Tom really wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Was a real dad, somebody to help him and guide him. You know, because Tom was a good man. You know, he would do the best that he knew how.
Right.
You know, and all of them was drinkers. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they told me I wasn't in a cult when I stopped drinking. the gals in a cut in the morning. Yeah, she in a cult. Because I could see everything then. I wasn't blind.
Right.
I could see everything that they would do, you know, and they was doing some ugly stuff.
Shooting. Do you remember what hospital Dad was born in?
Yeah, the county, Cook County.
Oh, Cook County Hospital.
Yeah,
okay. Do you remember? Do you remember how that day went? Like.
Yeah, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
That early that day, I rode a bike. I rode a bike, and that evening, I told him it was on a Friday, because he was born on a Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
But I rode a bike that day.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a real big person, but I don't know what made me want to ride a bike that day, but I rode a bike. Because I used to love to ride bikes.
Okay.
And Tom, name him Romeo. I hadn't thought about no
names or nothing like that.
Gave instructions. Tom gave instructions. Name him Romeo. Because he liked them Spanish women.
Right. That's what I had heard.
Yeah.
The Spanish woman that gave him that name or something. Yeah.
He got the name. That's a Spanish woman name.
Right.
They gave it to him. And he told me that it was some woman that he really liked, but she didn't like him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I was naive.
Naive.
And I really didn't know what love was. I just knew somebody liked me.
What did you? So with Tom, what did you like about him? Like what were some qualities that you really liked about with Tom, outside of the negative?
He was when I first met him, he was when you meet people, you see
the good.
You see the part that you want to see. You want to see. You're so in a daze about guys and young ladies, young girls, and he dressed nice. Mm-hmm. The only thing, he had big eyes, but he was kind of sharp, and he knew how to talk to you,
Right.
And which I didn't know how to really talk to no boy. I didn't have no boy. I never had I had a friend, I thought. I didn't know what he was, but that's all I know. Sometimes we would talk, sometimes we wouldn't. Mm-hmm. But then he got my telephone number, and I started calling. We started calling each other. Mm-hmm. And Tom he couldn't drive no car, but he would walk, and he would walk from over on 16th Street over to Fairfield.
Okay.
To come see me, and we would go, and he was the first one that took me downtown. And first thing I knew about downtown and eating out, taking me to the ice cream parlor and things like that. And we would go out because I was working then. And
what was your first job, by the way?
My first job. My first job was at a fish company.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you've been around fish all your life, huh?
It was a place where they would take the Jewish people. I think we would cut the fish and pack it in little jars.
Oh, okay.
And me and my girlfriend, I had started first, and then me and my girlfriend, Mary Thomas, my best friend.
Oh, yeah, I remember Miss Mary.
We all started working there, and that's why I started trying to get independent of taking care of myself. Because Tom, we hadn't gotten married then. And I would, take care of my own self, and me and Rudy, And one Saturday he came and we're going to get married. But I think he did come and ask my dad to marry me. But he didn't let me know what day. He just told me, we're going to get married on Saturday. Nobody, his mama wouldn't go. So Henry went with us, because he needed a witness.
Right.
And
so you all had gotten married after Dad was born, or was it before Dad? Okay.
Then we got married then, and we moved to his mama's house, and we kept looking for a place for ourselves.
Right, because you wanted to get up out of there.
Lydia was she loved Rhodey, but she just said, and the strangest thing, she became more friendly with me when me and Tom got a divorce. And when I bought the house in over here in
Portage.
In Portage, she came out there. She came way out
I
there
remember.
to see me.
I remember. Yep.
And when she came up here, last time she came up here, she was sitting there. She was at the hospital. I went up there and sat there with the hospital with her. And I went to the nursing home where she was, and we would talk, It was so many secret things, that you just shut your mouth. Even if you saw it, you just shut your mouth. It was none of your business, And you saw the red flag if Henry was doing certain things, Tom was gonna do the same thing. And there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of drinking going on, because they love to drink and
play cards.
And me and Doris, I got a chance. Me and Doris became close friends. We started working at a company together.
Oh, y'all worked together at one time, really?
We worked at a sewing machine place.
Really? Okay.
And we became sort of friends because Tom, in fact, Doris was the closest thing to him for a sister.
Sister, right? I know.
And that was.
It was so funny because they were just so close because I don't know if you know Letha's daughter Ann. That's her youngest daughter. For the longest time, she thought Tom was actually her uncle. She didn't know that Tom was really her cousin.
Her cousin.
Yeah, but she had no idea that Tom was a cousin, not an uncle.
Because Lydia didn't have no more children, and the only children was around was Doris and Letha.
Right.
Well, they had the two boys too. They had two sons. He had two sons. Uncle Charlie had two sons too.
Right. Yeah, Charles and Jerome.
Yeah, Jerome died. Both of them did now, ain't they?
Yeah, they both did. Yep.
But,
yeah.
But it was interesting. Whatever life we had, we struggled. We got along. We did the best that we knew how. And
now you had said that between Dad and Rochelle, you had a miscarriage or something, right?
I did. What I did, well, with Gary, let's see.
Okay, so it was in between Dad and
Because
Rochelle.
he was living over on we was living with his mother at that time.
Okay.
And he was coming home, and he would work nights, but we had an apartment right across the street from Audrey and them.
Mm-hmm.
And we was coming home. He came pick me up from his mother's, and we had to walk from there around to our house. And he was so mean that night. And you want something to eat? And I was scared. I was afraid of him. You know, when he buck his eyes and everything, he really did scare me. You know,
kind of intimidating.
And because he wanted to go out, he didn't want to stay at home. He wanted to go out.
Right, he wanted to do what he wanted to do.
And whatever he thought he wanted to do, you know. So I said, no, I don't want nothing to eat. So when I got to the house, then it had been kind of rainy and slippery. And then all of a sudden I got brave. I said, I'm going to get me something to eat. So he wouldn't go with me. So I walked on back up on 16th Street, and I came on my way back. I slipped and I fell. I fell on my stomach. But I didn't know, because I was about 7 months.
Oh, wow.
And it didn't start bothering me for about a week or so.
Okay.
And that's when I had to go to the hospital. But you know, it's the strangest thing. They've never let me saw. I said, well, they came and told me, but well, your baby died. I said, I said, well, but they never let me saw him. That always puzzled me. Why
won't you let me see my child that's deceased?
Why can't I see him, you know?
Right.
And they told me they would take care of everything. And we just
took their word, basically.
We was at the county hospital.
Wow.
You know.
And it kind of makes you wonder, like, if they just told you something and you...
Because, you know, they were stealing babies. They were stealing babies, using them for whatever they wanted to use them for, you know. Stealing babies and using their inner parts. And and if you didn't know, well, you're dumb. You don't know what to do. And then you're going to be relieved of the bill. Right. And we didn't have sense enough to
investigate
to inquire. Right. You know. And in fact, Tom didn't go to the hospital with me. It's the only one he went to the hospital with me was with he went to the hospital with me with Rochelle.
Oh, Rochelle.
And Innocent is the only one that ever called him Daddy.
Daddy, right.
I don't know why. Nobody else in there. Nobody else in the house called him Daddy. And she never heard Brody call him Daddy. And she ain't never heard nobody call him Daddy. She just called him Daddy.
And you don't have no reason why everybody would just call him Tom. There's no specific reason?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I just called him Tom, you know.
Okay.
And everybody around him
call him Tom.
Call him Tom, you know. Even with Audrey and them, because, you know, Audrey and them was the babysitters. Right. And they would always be around Tom. They would call him Tom. Right. You know, so. But,
wow. Wow.
But.
So, yeah, so Gary was the last. What do you remember about that pregnancy? Do you remember that one?
Gary was I tell you, believe it or not, we worked as a team. And I went home and I cleaned up the house, and I got on the bus, because on Harrison bus wasn't too far from where we lived, you know, from Mama, because we was living with Mama and them at the time. Right. And I caught that bus, Harrison bus, and because you know the Harrison bus at that time dropped you off right in front of the county hospital.
Oh, okay.
And Tom, he is just like, I had a baby and that was it. And he was never too close. He was with the babies, but he wasn't very too close. And only when they got old enough and Rhodey could take him certain places where, because a lot of times Tom be drunk and he would want somebody to drive him, come get him or something. And him and Gary, they was just like two. They were so much alike.
Like, oh, yeah.
They were so much alike. They could never get. I never even see them sit and talk with each other. They was either they was at Tom want to fight him or cut him or something.
Right.
It was just I never did understand it. And when me and Tom got a divorce, Gary came home one night and he had cut off all his hair. And I turned around and looked at it. I thought...
You thought it was time? Scared you to death?
It scared me. I said, whoa.
So explain the story about your head wrap. So your mother-in-law was the one that... Was she the one that...
Well, I was going to be in a modeling show or something. And I said, I wanted something different. And she said, well, take this rag here. This is what they used to do. And she just started, she showed me, because she didn't wear it.
Right.
I think she wore it once or twice, but she told me, said, take this and wrap it around your head. And she showed me how, and then I just started liking it.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And I would have never thought that she would be the one to create something like that. Mm-hmm. She was kind of reserved and kind of, a certain way.
We became closer when she got sick, and when she didn't want to die down in Texas by herself, because the closest people was Tom.
Right.
And us, She didn't realize how close her family was. Mm-hmm. And I was really glad when she came down there and wanted to come see me, And then I would go to the hospital and I would see her, And I'd sit up there with her and talk with her, and But she was just a self-serving person. They had their little thing going, her and Henry. It was just a lot of mixture things a lot of stuff that you didn't need to see, and a lot of stuff that you just shut your mouth because none of your business. Right. But all that stuff, people don't realize. Children see everything, and I was grateful Rhodey didn't adopt some of those habits. Right. Because they weren't good habits. They weren't things that, and to come to think of it, I had never been to church with Lydia. I had never seen her go to church. Mm-hmm. And she didn't. They were supposed to be going to that Morris Temple. But she never did go to there. Right.
Tom didn't either, right? Or did he go sometime?
He would play with the idea.
Oh.
But as far as foreign, because you couldn't control Tom. He
right. Can't tell him nothing. Right.
No. Now he liked the idea. Like Rhodey was angry with him because he wanted to spend that money that paid him to come there to put that hat on him. Right. Like he was to that group of people, which he wasn't. He used the name. Right. And he would act a fool about that L in there. I didn't understand what it was until years that I learned about what it was, what L and Bay meant, And it's just interesting more when you're older. You want to tell your children about life, to try to not to get into those humps and different things. But when you're drinking, you ain't thinking. You just let it pass you, and when I'm sober, then I'll give you some more instructions. But tomorrow I'm gonna be drunk, so I ain't gonna tell you nothing. I can't tell you nothing. Right. And Tom wouldn't take us. I never went to church with Tom.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only time we went to church was when Tom Brody got married.
Oh, wow.
We was in church. That's the time. And he got married. But as far as this, me and him going to church,
no, that didn't happen.
In fact, he didn't even take me to the mosque temple.
Oh, really?
He never did. Now he talked like he'd be going there.
Yeah,
and
all the time, but
everything.
he really wasn't.
Because he didn't want to follow anybody's rules.
He wanted to do things on his own terms. Right.
And for a long while, I didn't go to church because my mom never went to church. I used to go to church, but after I married Tom, I didn't go to church.
So you okay? Okay, so you didn't really start going back to church until what? After you all had divorced, or was it?
No, after I stopped drinking.
Oh, okay.
I got courage enough to say, well, and after I had stopped drinking, Tom went and bought a great big fifth of whiskey and set it up in the refrigerator. And,
were you trying to test you? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But God helped me greatly. I lost the taste for it. I didn't have no need for it. I was glad to know who I was, and know where that one time I had got drunk and because Rhodey would always come help me.
Right, I remember saying that.
And one time I just heard him. He said, "Oh, Mama, she all right. She's just drunk." And look like that just triggered something in my mind, And my friend Barbara,
Miss Barbara,
yeah, she had got to the point that she needed help. So she said, "Della, you go to AA meeting with me." I didn't know what an AA meeting was. I didn't know nothing about
it.
And I went there with her, and I'm sitting up there, and everything that them people said, and I said, that's me. That's, And after I started going and listening, and a lot of it made so much sense. And it just took, and I became a whole person. Then that's when I got myself together to go to church, and Tom, he couldn't. Then, because, see, he was drunk half the time. And see, I'm sober now, I can see you. And you can lie and cuss when you're drunk, and he jump on me and
get away with
me,
stuff, too.
Get away, and I'm thinking I'm wrong, too, And I learned differently, And that's what mostly drove us apart, that he couldn't stand me seeing him sober. I mean, he couldn't.
He's seeing you sober.
Because, see, I see you now. I see who you are.
Right, right. You ain't got nothing blinding you now.
You can't jump on me and tell me. You don't know what you're talking about. You're lying. You're this and that. Or he can go and stay 2 and 3 weeks away from the house. And one time he did it wouldn't give me no money or nothing. I went out that morning, got me 2 jobs.
Wow.
But we was just like 2 people's passing in the night. We was just in the house together. One time, we were so out of each other. He went down out on the north side, and man had asked me to go out. I said okay, and I went out, and guy drove on the north side, and I went to get out of the car, and knew but him walking down the street with a girl, a woman holding her hand.
Wow.
That was.
Wow.
Yeah, that was something else.
Wow.
And he looked at me, and I looked at him.
Y'all kept it moving?
Look, we kept it moving, and we beat each other. We was trying to beat each other home. We just got in bed. He looked at me, and I looked at him. We never just said no more. We never did even say anything to each other about it. Cause
wow.
God said, I'm going to see what y'all both going to do. But
wow.
I think we tried to become, because it was certain things that if he had to stop drinking, we might have made some kind of a
pact,
understanding what marriage was about, you know, because Tom was he was a good-hearted man. But he didn't bring it to the house. He tried to take it on the outside of the house, you know. And he had a good heart. He would try to help people as much as. In fact, and believe it or not, the things that Brody was doing, he created something. He did something. He knew what to do. Tom couldn't get it together. He was educated, but he couldn't he wanted to be somebody, but he didn't know how to do it. Right. He didn't know what way to go, and he wanted to be, look at me, I'm this and I'm that. And just like even with Gary right now actually is doing the things that Tom wanted to do. Okay. You know, helping people. Now, we had over in the townhouse, we had a group. They had a group, and they were supposed to paint the houses and everything. Rather than you paint your own house first, he went over there and clambered up on somebody else's building, painting, and wouldn't nobody give him a glass of cold water. Wow. But he wanted people to like him, but he didn't know how. You know, he wanted to think, look at me. I'm somebody. Look at me. I you know. In which he was a nice guy. Tom was a nice guy. He just had his ways, and he wanted everything his way. His way, right. And that's where him and Gary couldn't click. With Tom, with Rhodey, he could look past all of that and keep him. Because if it wasn't for Tom, Romel, Tom would have been dead a long time ago. Because I think Rhodey came, got him a lot of times when it was just not trying to put him down. It was just that he needed to stop drinking. Right. If he had to stop drinking, Tom would have been Dynamite Man. He would. If he had to stop drinking. Because he wanted to be somebody. Right. He would always, I tell you, when I first met him, his girlfriend, one of the lady friends, he used to always go and see him. Go see him and take me with him. We go and visit his friend. Says she had cancer. And Lily was the same way. Lily was his closest friend. You heard him speak of him possibly, but in fact, did she die first? No, she died right after Tom. Okay. Yeah, she died right after Tom. But she was real sick because she was at the wake. Okay. She was at the house. That was his closest friend. That was the one that introduced me to Tom. Oh, okay. But, wow. We could dance, though. No. Oh, I know y'all could dance. I've seen a little bit of footage. Yeah, we could dance. We could dance really good together. We had a whirlwind romance when we tried to get together, you know.